Today marks the end of the 16 Days of Activism campaign against gender-based violence. And in keeping with this year's theme, moving from awareness to accountability, a non-profit organization has launched a community center in Alexandra, Johannesburg. The facility wants to encourage men and boys to do better and help end GBV. To discuss this, we're joined now by Craig Wilkinson. He is the founder and CEO of Father a Nation. Craig, thank you so much for your time. Yesterday, Minister in the Presidency, Mondli Kungubele, saying Cabinet is pleading with men and boys to do more against GBV. You are saying the same thing. What is this center going to do for that plea from the Cabinet?
Thanks so much for having me on board. It's lovely to be here. Yes, I mean, we need to take action. And I think for many, many years we've been talking about it and creating awareness. But awareness itself is not enough. We need to take action. And this centre in Alex, funded by the No Excuse movement, is all about creating a brick and mortar centre. We've been in work around the nation, training, equipping, inspiring, helping men to be good men. Because the answer to gender-based violence, isn't it? It lies with men. The answer to toxic masculinity lies with healthy, positive masculinity. So this centre's really got two purposes. One is to provide, through Lifeline, counselling and support and a safe space for victims of gender-based violence. But on the other side, in the front of it, and that's what we've been doing for many years now, is training, equipping, working with men, getting men in conversations around what is positive masculinity? What does it mean to be a good man? Masculinity is a beautiful gift to humanity. It should love, it should serve, it should honor, it should protect, it should provide. It should be a safe space. And we're teaching men to stand up and say, you know, I'm going to be a whole man, good man, and not on my watch. People around me are safe. And that's what the centre is all about.
Craig, you've been conducting a lot of work in trying to build good men. Are we making any headway, though? Yes. We're having lots of conversations, we're doing lots of things on the ground, but is it having a tangible effect?
No, there's a heck of a lot more work to be done. There's generations of woundedness that we're dealing with here. I think fatherlessness, to me, is probably the single biggest issue. We have up to 60% of children growing up without a father. And in the absence of older men to teach younger boys how to be a man, how to be a good man, how to never, ever use your strength badly, boys grow up with the wrong role models and the wrong understanding of masculinity. So to answer your question, we are making a dent. But there's a lot more that needs to be done. Corporates need to come together. Government needs to come together. Households and communities need to come together. We need to restore fathers and restore men and teach a culture that masculinity, it's not trash. It's a beautiful thing. It can be trashy. It can go wrong. But we need to raise boys and men to live with positive, healthy, strong masculinity that never, ever abuses. So we're making progress, but there's a long way to go. Generations of woundedness need to be healed. And this is not something that happens quickly. It's not something that happens in an isolation. It needs to be a coordinated effort. And we need to have the right dialogue. I don't think we've been having the right conversations. We've been focusing very much on awareness. We've been focusing on helping victims, and that's absolutely critical. We have to do everything we can to help anyone who's been subject to this dreadful scourge of GBV, but we need to get to the root cause. The root cause is wounded men with a false notion of what it means to be a man, and a society that undervalues women. And if we get these things right, these three things right, we will make a lot of headway. And as a nation, we can overcome this thing.
Craig, on that score, how do we get more abusers, more men who have anger issues to come forward and seek help and break the stigma associated with seeking help? And how do we get more men to report abusive men, you know, to not feel like, well, I don't want to be a snitch?
Right. It's a great question. And I think you've hit one of the nails on the head. Men don't talk. 4 times more men commit suicide than women. And one of the reasons is we don't share. We've got this false notion of masculinity that to be vulnerable is to be weak. And the opposite is true. It takes a lot more courage to come out and be vulnerable than it is to say, I'm okay when I'm not okay. So we need to start conversations with men and start allowing men and creating platforms of men, brothers, who can get together and open up and share and talk honestly and help each other. We've seen tremendous results when we get small groups of men together, facilitated by an experienced facilitator, to say, guys, this is a platform where you're safe. You can share. There's no shame in saying, I've been abused. There's no shame in saying whatever it is that I'm dealing with. Because here, as brothers, we're going to stand with you. And when men do that, when we banish this culture of big boys don't cry, and we allow men to be vulnerable, and we don't expect of men to be Superman, we can really begin to break that curse of men holding it all. And when men hold it all, they become dangerous to themselves and to others.
Yeah, Craig, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for the work that you're doing to fight the scourge of GBV. Craig Wilkinson, the founder and CEO of Father a Nation.